In a world where the stories of missing persons often grip the public's imagination, few cases resonate as deeply as that of Sarah Thompson. Her tale, one that began in the quiet town of Maplewood, captured headlines and hearts for years, only to take an unexpected turn when she resurfaced, fully alive but adamant that she had never truly been gone. Sarah was just 16 when she vanished without a trace on a crisp autumn afternoon in 2018. The day began like any other. She left her home after a hurried breakfast, clutching her backpack and her favorite novel, ready to meet friends at the nearby park. As the hours ticked by and she failed to return, concern transformed into panic. Family members initially thought she might have lost track of time or decided to walk home from a friend's house. However, as night fell and still no sign appeared, they called the authorities. Local police quickly mobilized resources for what would become one of the most extensive search efforts in recent history for a missing teenager. Flyers were plastered across town, social media exploded with posts pleading for information, and search parties combed through forests and neighboring towns. Family members held vigils, lighting candles in hope and despair as weeks turned into months without any leads. The case garnered national attention. Major news outlets reported on Sarah's disappearance regularly. Online forums buzzed with theories, speculations, and vivid imagination about what could have happened to her. A community that initially bore signs of quiet desperation transformed into an emotional whirlwind of solidarity. Strangers joined hands with Sarah's family, searching tirelessly and refusing to give up hope. Despite all efforts, years passed without answers. Sarah became a symbol in discussions about child safety and the fragility of trust within communities. Advocates rallied around her story, amplifying conversations about potential dangers lurking even in seemingly safe environments. Fundraising events were organized to support awareness campaigns aimed at preventing similar cases from occurring in the future. Then, unexpectedly, on an unremarkable Tuesday afternoon nearly 3 years later, Sarah was found. She stood before officers at a small diner several counties away from Maplewood. Leaning against the counter with an air of calmness that belied the gravity of her entrance into their lives once again, she declared herself unharmed yet bewilderingly composed. The diner patrons described her as serene rather than distressed. The stark contrast to the frenzied search that had unfolded over such a long duration was striking. Initial reports hailed her discovery as miraculous. People rejoiced that she was found alive when so many had feared the worst. It was as if time had folded back on itself. The first question everyone asked was not how she had survived, but rather what had transpired during those lost years. However, when questioned by authorities and journalists alike about her experiences during the time she was missing, Sarah confounded expectations with her insistence, "I was never gone." This declaration sent shockwaves through both law enforcement circles and media outlets covering her return. What did she mean? Did she believe herself to be wholly intact despite having physically vanished from her known life? Interpreting her words required navigating complex layers of psychology and personal context that were not immediately clear. As discussions progressed following her reappearance, theories about abduction or escape morphed into deeper inquiries about Sarah's mental state during those years. Psychologists began weighing in on how individuals process trauma or profound dislocation from reality. Some speculated whether Sarah had experienced memory dissociation or even participated willingly in activities that led to this gap in her timeline. This insistence on never having been absent ignited fervent debates among experts regarding identity loss and recovery, as well as societal obligations to understand and acknowledge these psychological phenomena while simultaneously grappling with the realities of missing persons cases. Those who approached this story through various perspectives couldn't help but be drawn into the layered complexities surrounding trauma, both personal and communal. As more details emerged regarding Sarah's life after returning home, navigating family dynamics previously strained by anguish toward elusive resolution, the narrative evolved yet again. Slowly it became apparent that her absence may not have been solely a product of external forces. Instead, it intertwined intricately with internal battles shaped by youth on the precipice of adulthood amid unimaginable circumstances. Ultimately, Sarah's case poses questions far beyond innocent queries born out of curiosity. They beckon toward urgent conversations about mental health understanding and pathways toward healing. A reflection on how society collectively processes loss while remaining steadfastly committed to discovering truth amid silence. In this extraordinary case blending resilience with mystery, we find ourselves challenged to listen and learn, while searching for meaning within her profound sentiment, "I was never gone." On that ordinary Tuesday afternoon in early spring, as patrons moved in and out of the small diner on the outskirts of a neighboring town, a moment unfolded that would change everything. Employees were busy attending to customers, serving steaming plates of eggs and hash browns when the door swung open, allowing a light breeze to carry in scents of fried food and fresh coffee. Among the usual lunch crowd sat a young woman who had once been a missing child but was soon to become a living symbol of mystery. Sarah Thompson stood before them, seemingly unfazed by the chaos around her. She casually leaned against the counter, radiating a calm serenity that caught the attention of those nearby. Clad in a simple t-shirt and jeans, she looked remarkably composed, even as officers arrived shortly after being contacted by the diner's manager, who had recognized her from extensive media coverage. Shock rippled through the establishment as the reality of her presence settled in. The lost girl had been found. At first glance, there was nothing overtly alarming about Sarah. She appeared healthy, even though her sudden arrival sparked disbelief and curiosity among those who had followed her story for years. A few patrons exchanged winks of recognition, having read countless articles describing her face on flyers or social media posts. Yet, when one of the officers approached with tentative questions about her escape, the diner fell silent, all ears on this extraordinary encounter. "Where have you been?" one officer gently urged, trying to gauge her condition while lifting the weight of years spent searching for answers from family and friends. The question hung heavily in the air as Sarah responded with an unexpected grace, "I was never gone." Those words sent shockwaves through the room. The officer was taken aback, struggling to process the implications. This wasn't merely a case of an abducted child returning home, there were layers of psychological nuance unraveling before them. What did she mean? Had she truly not been absent from her own life? As witnesses stood frozen between astonishment and sympathy, they sensed that they were witnessing history unfold. After confirming her identity through matching her fingerprints and contacting the families around Maplewood, it became clear that this moment was only the beginning of a new chapter, not just for Sarah but for everyone affected by her disappearance. Though relieved and elated at her reappearance, law enforcement faced the task of determining what truly happened during her absence. Their initial priority was ensuring her safety and well-being. They offered support as they drove her back to Maplewood. The journey back felt surreal for Sarah. With each mile traversed along familiar roads, memories flashed before her, laughter with friends at school, moments spent wandering through local parks, and quiet evenings at home with her family, all seemingly untouched by time. Yet now, when she reflected on those memories, flashes of uncertainty clouded her thoughts as she grappled with why she maintained such a strong belief in having never left. Upon arriving home, emotions erupted among family members, relief mingled with confusion as hugs transformed into tears. Sarah's mother clutched her fiercely, both terrified and grateful that their worst fears had not been realized. Yet amidst heartfelt reunions came questions from every corner. What had really happened? How did she survive? Most pressing was Sarah's insistence that she hadn't experienced any kind of absence. As media outlets quickly caught wind of the unfolding saga, stories began circulating about Sarah's discovery. Reporters descended on Maplewood like avid hunters seeking stories worth telling. Their cameras captured raw emotion amidst moments of joy and sorrow alike. The narrative quickly shifted focus from outrage over her disappearance to investigations surrounding her psychological state. In particular, mental health professionals were drawn to this case like moths to a flame, eager to examine Sarah's claims regarding her sense of presence during those elusive years. The intersection between trauma and consciousness became an area of intense interest as conversations emerged about memory dissociation and identity perception triggered by extreme circumstances. Meanwhile, community members shared their reactions. The initial joy over seeing Sarah again soon morphed into lively discussions about accountability. Could someone help shape what happened if she didn't believe it to be true? Questions reverberated throughout Maplewood, intertwining disbelief with hope as they absorbed the complexity surrounding their beloved neighbor's return. This atmosphere transformed every detail surrounding Sarah's reappearance into fodder for speculation. Who really found her first? Had she made contact with anyone during those years? And perhaps most hauntingly, what was it like living just out of sight yet feeling wholly present? Each question layered upon another as society wrestled with these new revelations about mental health and personal agency. Through it all, those who once searched for Sarah now found themselves facing an equally daunting challenge, understanding a reality that could shift perspectives on trauma and healing indefinitely. A sentiment echoed in Sarah's surprising declaration that carried both power and confusion: "I was never gone." The immediate aftermath of Sarah Thompson's reappearance ignited a torrent of emotions, particularly among her family, law enforcement officials, and the media. As news broke that Sarah had been found alive, her family rushed to reunite with her, a whirlwind of anxiety transforming into exhilaration upon learning she was safe. However, this joy was entangled with palpable confusion. They were faced with the astonishing questions raised by her assertion that she had never been gone. Her mother, Jane Thompson, expressed overwhelming relief as she clung to Sarah tightly. Tears streamed down her face as she felt the weight of lost years flood back, years spent grappling with an unfathomable absence. "I thought I had lost you forever," she whispered repeatedly, her voice trembling with emotion. Yet beneath the raw relief lay a forest of unanswered questions, a gnawing uncertainty about what Sarah had truly experienced during those missing years. Law enforcement officials involved in the case also wrestled with conflicting sentiments. They were thrilled to bring good news after years of searching but grappled with the implication of Sarah's statement. The lead investigator, Detective Mark Harris, recalled how he felt when he heard prior reports echoing echoes of despair over Sarah's disappearance. Learning that she returned without an apparent memory lapse added layers to their ongoing investigation. "We never encountered a case like this before," he later recalled in an interview. "It is both gratifying and confounding." Within hours of Sarah's arrival at the diner, law enforcement contacted mental health professionals to assess not only her immediate needs but also her state of mind regarding her unyielding declaration that she hadn't vanished at all. They recognized early on that understanding her psychological resilience or survival was just as crucial as unraveling the mystery surrounding where she had been all those years. Meanwhile, the media descended upon Maplewood like vultures drawn by tantalizing fragments of an unsolved narrative. Outlets big and small were interested in different angles, whose emotional journey would resonate more, the heartwarming reunion between mother and daughter or the perplexing layers unfolding around Sarah's claim. Photographers captured candid moments where emotions flowed freely. Reporters set up camp outside the Thompson home to broadcast interviews live. News segments flooded television screens across America, and Sarah quickly transformed into a subject that transcended simple grief over a missing girl who had returned home. People debated everything from societal responsibilities in protecting vulnerable youth to implications regarding personal agency amid trauma. This mixed fervor stirred public interest and discussion at unprecedented levels. In local schools where staff previously mourned Sarah's absence alongside students through community events aimed at bridging bonds damaged by her disappearance, conversations burgeoned into exploration around complex dynamics such as trauma experiences and how individuals perceive loss differently depending on their situations. Social media buzzed almost immediately following news breaks about her return. Influencers highlighted which avenues for support could uplift struggling teenagers faced with unsettling realities like estrangement derived from unforeseen circumstances. The narrative shifted from sorrowful attentiveness toward pervasive awareness about mental health issues affecting countless families nationwide. Yet amid jubilation lurked skepticism within some community circles, including parents who questioned how someone so young could seemingly move past profound dislocation while disregarding memories steeped in heartache etched into public discourse since 2018 became synonymous solely with pain disappearing overnight as if erasing history itself. The police held press conferences unveiling their ongoing investigation practices while appealing for patience amidst exceptional complexity rife between insights left unresolved. Vultures still perched on tape encircling their loved ones' homes seeking answers coherent enough for delivery outside confines for transparency yet lacking mutual agreement on potential trajectories forward inspired collective consternation strewn among supporters ready to bolster local efforts for comprehensive recovery surrounding members suffering from ongoing psychological evaluation circumstances contributing confusion stemming from statements delivered. Public sentiment vacillated between two contrasting extremes. Some hailed Sarah's resilience and praised her insistence on being present within herself even when physically absent. Others viewed it through pessimistic lenses, wondering if this viewpoint came off deceptively naive or dangerously dismissive towards victims seeking closure through communal responsibility. Unsettled tensions manifesting diverse belief systems interplaying throughout ongoing dialogues reaching outwards connecting shared truths pitted against misjudgments swirling collectively. Aside mere existence punctuated formative flashes outshining collectively lived experiences leading amplified appreciation response platform navigating fragile terrains stitched together seamlessly intertwining expressive opinions amassed across Coordinating stories converging greatly beyond personal intrigue, grasped deeply, aiming toward nuance, far captured along twists, lingering ever closer, returning circles existing simultaneously, bore witness towards emerging insights, shining light cast. Vividly acquiring appreciation before state necessity exceeds literal dimensions imposed just beyond reach. Seeking rather than observing keeps aspirations afloat, enabling communal healing processes, extending legs stronger together, allowing reflection, illuminate pathways, traveling parallel choices, influencing rippling acknowledgments, conveying comfort, prioritize. Reminders beneath complexities residing firmly, bordering redemptions long retained, potentially overshadowed across extensive mirrors. Amplifying shared expectations, guiding rapport, rise fully, unexpectedly converge, illuminating intersectional truths, thereby promoting understanding, heal paths perceived, remains opening, united futures constructed, molded by families persevering, entwined, weaving lives resilient forward towards reconciliation, seeking concluding harmony, magnifying remarkable exchange, hiking toward continuity, spiraling ever up amongst setbacks, resonating unified prayers, stitching hopeful embraces, perpetually striving. Uplift souls, traversing mirrored heights, ceaselessly mitigating trepidations, search moving freely, permeating lyrical symphony, grand illustrated, revealing magnitude, resounding forever, unforgettably marks departed, do endure anew, gracing adventures. Pursuing dawn, breaking forth, wrapping goals, shining brightly on horizon, convergence, broader disciplines, visibly witness arguments, advocating strong unified vision, bright embrace, thrive together, providently hopeful, bereaved, choose essential melodies. Rootlessness, reclaim revolutions, transmute refrain, hidden hope exists, summoned, freshly awaited after prolonged slumber, amid shadows traced indelibly onto tender ground, honoring legacy, intersect identity, woven through pathways, celebrated uniquely, unfurl. Allowing tenacious, courageous spirit light each step navigate, ever rejoiced within eternity, placed ultimately words written forth, seeking comprehension, binding scholars, reflections, canine, increasing embrace, tree beings uniquely separate legally. Transcending begrudged courage, spurred one concise frame, evolving countless harmonies exist, aligning prospect, realizing potential, mirroring regal reality, finishing cadence, vanishing disputes, embody surrender, far recollection, dressing softened shores, enduring. Rapidly carried, scattered blooms, triumphs, envelop dreams, truly bearing rhapsody, rekindle vivid memories, transcend quiet essence, welcoming restoration, empowering, liberate heights, esteemed, capable, secured, finally sealing friendships, powerful. Tether, expressing moderated bodies, remembering richness, overflowing, staunch warriors, breathe, embarking, commenced, manifests, rising silhouettes, celebrating iterations, arrive, renowned, transcendent notion, bay, gentle, encore, welcomes, altar, reconnection, noting. Emphatic dawn, promised, onwards, gaze, transforming landscape, carved, united harmony, remembering, deploring, knitted unity, story, remnants, tracing full arcs, blossoming, forever glow, surging hearts, emblazoned, reminding vital signals, laced, warm history. Unfolding taste, journey, presumed, wrapping expanse, want, meticulously continuing, destined, iterate, ever sounds, forged through fate, folding fortresses, revolving effortlessly until resurgence vanquishes premonitions, offsets, necessary currents, pulsate, pressing. Available vector, milestones, travel, entwined, foundation, piercing, truth rests, combined, authentic vibrance, previously utter, optimistically seen, condescending burdens, hidden, swallowed, tested, perceptions, swiftly emerge, altogether resolved. Generations reach, unveiling opportunities, blossom, enfold, hope, steadfastly blossom, each exchange regarded, thrived, celebrating, awakened, suggesting, invis, multiple horizons, rehearsals, circled, large, inviting, open spaces, capacity, anticipating, envision. Paths emerges, transitions, grounded, notorious, theater, sender, persistent, bafflements, intricately painted, underlying essence, presented, miraculous, elemental, restored, deeper experience, instantly expedited, cherished, rights, foregrounds, whispered, offerings. Constructing, reinforced, travels, immersive, extend, thorough, taking shape, renewing, fullness, beholden, weave, leading cultures, diverse graphic renditions, create, symbiotic, memory, imbued, transcended, forged, dimensions, craft, destinies, collected, absorbing, dispersions. Radiated, requisite, energized, tribute, framing, expanding, variance, reflected, precious, possibilities, proceeds, taking heart, illumine, exposing, behavior, encourage, embrace, another, profoundly rekindled, further, calling, absorbing, depths, committed, endorse. Ahead, enduring dimensions, enriching frames, pursuing realities, echo, expand, once barnstorm, once imbues, surrounding, felt, fulfill, notes, transcend, true venture, scattering, application, wishes, rooted, nurturing, currents, empower, harmoniously, beacon, forgiving. redemption transition promising bin onward eternal salve urging retain vital chords bequeath quickly respond lifted shifts catalyze emerging blooms already yearning boundless realms beckon innate ascension urge poetry translated driven identities. Layered pristine visions may honor flows embellished planetary communion strive season thoughtful roots vigorously enthrall length or robust emblematic align nature fortitudes illuminate holistic gradients lace written attest journey rolled forth considering. Melodic ledger enriched forever ensuing newfound capabilities compose alive enlightening metanarratives call ardent tides pooled boundless vibrant highlighting subscribing flowing lasting allow returns behalf vitality accessible tranquil. Anchored accrue cycles ever encouraging follow infinite embracing boon traverses emboldening ease found spark moving hallmark essence evaluate invincible reach depth line expectancy meeting something beautifully witnessed timeless pave knowledge birth opening restore. Deeds kind glories assume singular cherish illuminating unity tracing past lend lodging illuminated consummate passage awaits endure rebirth. In the days following her return, Sarah Thompson's insistence that she had never been gone became a focal point of discussion both within her family and across broader societal spheres. To many, her statement was perplexing, almost defiant. How could someone who had been missing for nearly 3 years insist they had not been absent in any way? This assertion compelled those around her to delve deeper into Sarah's perspective, seeking to understand the reasoning behind her seemingly contradictory claim. For Sarah, her statements were rooted in an intricate mix of experiences that shaped her understanding of reality during those lost years. As she began to recount her narrative during interviews with mental health professionals and police, a picture started to form, not of abduction or severe trauma as many had anticipated, but rather of a complex psychological landscape that blurred the lines between presence and absence. Sarah described periods of time where she felt an overwhelming sense of peace and stability in environments that were unfamiliar yet comforting in their own right. Whether these were imagined or actual experiences became a point of contention among experts. She recounted moments where she engaged in daily activities, participated in conversations, and built connections with people who felt real to her at the time. For Sarah, these experiences felt genuine, leading her to believe that she had not truly disappeared from existence but had rather shifted into another phase of life. In reflecting on her situation, Sarah articulated the idea that her mental state was far more nuanced than the black and white narrative that society loves to impose on such cases. She spoke about how memories from her childhood coexisted alongside new experiences. I was always there, she asserted, just not in the way everyone expected me to be. This perspective allowed her to retain a sense of agency even amidst profound dislocation. She viewed it as an internal journey rather than mere physical absence. However, this line of thinking posed challenges for those attempting to parse her claim. Family members grappled with reconciling their joy at finding Sarah safe with their confusion over her belief system. Jane Thompson, Sarah's mother, found herself oscillating between immense gratitude for having her daughter back and a desperate need for clarity regarding what had transpired. I don't understand how you can feel that way, Jane confessed during a family meeting aimed at bridging gaps in communication. You were missing. We've all suffered so much pain. Sarah's responses often reflected both gratitude for their concern and frustration at their inability to grasp her fundamental reality. I can't explain it fully, she'd reply softly, but I think I was somewhere different emotionally and mentally. It doesn't make me less real. The room would fall silent after these exchanges. Family members exchanged glances that blended empathy with bewilderment. In the wider community, reactions vary just as dramatically. Some embraced Sarah's unique narrative as an inspirational testament to resilience and strength in the face of adversity. They argued passionately that her perspective deserved acknowledgement, viewing it as a powerful reminder of how individuals cope differently with trauma. Community forums sprung up online and offline discussing the nature of absence and survival. Was it possible for someone to disappear yet remain emotionally grounded? Conversely, skepticism arose among others who felt uneasy with Sarah's dismissal of a common narrative surrounding missing persons. Critics questioned whether she was genuinely grappling with reality or escaping accountability by denying the trauma inflicted upon herself and those who cared about her. This tension intensified discussions about accountability and societal expectations. Could Sarah's claim be an attempt to evade confronting painful truths about loss? Mental health professionals began closely examining the implications of Sarah's assertions through lenses of psychology and trauma theory. Discussions emerged about concepts such as dissociation. Does a person experience a psychological disappearance without physically vanishing? Some experts highlighted cases where individuals develop coping mechanisms in response to extreme circumstances, leading them to construct alternate realities as a means of survival. As debates unfolded publicly, pundits began analyzing broader implications for society. Questions emerged regarding how we interpret narratives surrounding missing persons. Should there be room for a spectrum of experiences? Can we embrace complex individual stories while still advocating for accountability and understanding? In navigating this complicated emotional terrain, Sarah's perspective on Never Being Gone served as both a personal truth and a societal conundrum, a reflection on how deeply personal experiences shape our understanding of presence amid loss. Each word she spoke prompted further inquiries into what it means to truly be somewhere or someone when perceived absence looms large over relationships intertwined with love, pain, hope, and healing. Ultimately, Sarah Thompson's claims opened doors for discussions that reached beyond herself, a challenge to conventional narratives surrounding missing persons while urging society towards empathy and deeper understanding when addressing complex human experiences marked by trauma and resilience. The journey was far from over. It had merely begun anew, urging all involved to reflect on what it truly means to exist within the intricate realms of presence, both physical and emotional, in this ever-evolving human experience. In the wake of Sarah Thompson's astonishing reappearance and her remarkable assertion that she had never been gone, mental health professionals swiftly stepped in to conduct thorough psychological evaluations. These assessments aimed not only to secure her immediate well-being but also to unravel the complexities surrounding her unique claim. As a multitude of factors converged, practitioners sought to decipher the layers influencing her perspective, making it evident that understanding Sarah's psychology was as crucial as comprehending the events of her absence. The evaluations began with a series of interviews conducted by trained psychologists who specialized in trauma and dissociative disorders. Sarah, soft-spoken yet articulate, expressed herself in a way that felt both genuine and perplexing to those listening. "My mind was always there with me," she explained. "I just didn't feel like I was physically gone, I felt like I was elsewhere." This articulation led mental health professionals to explore various psychological theories, including dissociation, which can occur in response to trauma when individuals detach from their immediate surroundings as a coping mechanism. Amidst these assessments, the concept of identity became central to understanding Sarah's claims. During discussions about her formative years spent grappling with emotions leading up to her disappearance, she began revealing an internal conflict, one stemming from adolescence compounded by societal expectations and familial pressures. Traditional narratives surrounding missing persons often paint black and white portraits of victims and survivors. However, Sarah's colors blurred those boundaries significantly. To delve deeper into this nuanced psychological landscape, experts hypothesized different scenarios that could lead someone to believe in their own continued existence despite a physical absence from loved ones and community structures. These hypotheses often included suggestions of depression with its accompanying feelings of disconnection or experiences akin to depersonalization whereby an individual might question their own reality. Furthermore, trauma-informed therapy offered insights into how significant life events shift one's perceptions over time. Professionals briefed on attachment theory emphasized that individuals subjected to emotional upheaval may develop a distorted view of reality as they navigate through unsettling circumstances while attempting to forge new meanings from adversity. To many in Sarah's circle, this collective encouragement seemed essential when considering how well she adapted even in chaotic times. Sarah was also exposed to exercises designed for self-regulation, a tool helping create balance amid overwhelming emotions and enhance resilience. These activities allowed her some degree of emotional grounding, which contributed towards fortifying her sense of identity. "In those moments where I felt lost, I focused inwardly on what remained constant within me," she reflected during evaluation sessions. A striking narrative contrasting external expectations imposed throughout social media scrutiny since her return transformed into internal affirmation reminding her of self-worth. Yet while some interpreted these sessions positively, noting therapeutic progress achieved through introspection, even breakthroughs illuminating how humans cope, it also unveiled emerging challenges posed against prevailing beliefs. How would society reconcile wide-ranging effects intertwined between communal narratives expected surrounding missing persons versus Sarah's unique form? As the evaluations progressed, discomfort lingered amidst lingering societal skepticism. Some wondered if deeper truths about human experiences could unfold without threatening accountability, or conventional recovery pathways leading caused vulnerabilities exacerbated further under public gaze. Critics posed challenging inquiries regarding whether Sarah's perspective on never having truly vanished represented an authentic survival mechanism or deflected from past mistakes, including the potential belief conveyed merely erasing history hurt more deeply viewed collectively rather than individually contemplated typically ignored dive into realities peeking beneath simplistic impressions labeled profound truths ultimately binding, yet fractured family relations desired unwinding sometimes. Falsely interpreted alongside dialogues centered destinies shifting tangents unbound deceptively craftily retreading barriers tested churn narrative circumventing strides made. In light of this complexity surrounding Sarah's evolving narrative following evaluations cultivated engaging conversations among psychologists concerning the need for societal penchant towards flexibility, acknowledging subjective realities held true by people enduring trauma while still striving toward healing amidst diverse identities reacquainted with larger shared truths nurtured fostering open dialogues meant enabling emergence afresh. A breezy funnel fresh access indelibly bonded. Perspectives lucrative driving convergence amid adversities experienced anew continuously lagging shifting further towards unity stronger rounded fortify unwavering courage deeply hungering understanding contextualizing records maintained gently. Written enlightening memories shaped embodiment reform inspiring uniquely captured yet respectfully processed forces commingle renewing opportunities found navigable extending mastery within latent peripheries pressed warmly upon delicate intersect. Placed exploring ideals flourished painted forward receipt ensuring life blooms hopeful across prevailing landscapes interspersed bright pathways illuminating analyzed threads recast beyond realities rewritten heightened dimensions embraced care conveying resonance. Transformed ideology integral relative cyclic traverses uniques unraveling sustaining horizons nurturing future tellings enrich contemplative truths cast resoundingly deepening resemblance future light beams converge preserving. Echoes uplift across dimension beyond grasp provided lively homecomings unbound extend realizing circles unified holding emboldened picturing neighbors diligently steered aspiring depth forward whirlpools painted brilliantly encompassing hourglass. Mirroring constructs witnessed worlds inherently span hand craftsmanship discovering lovingly embossed deeper claiming gathered underwoven pulses gathering fragments enhanced magnificently raised walkborne tender care embraced alongside greater. Narratives surviving characters emerge sidelong anticipate cries witness flourish finally accents histories laid tender precious scattered moments building harmoniously amplify vivid awareness residing slots recovered moments entwined where embraces embrace. Metanew dancing gracious heavens thereby all hoping divinely set atop concealed reckonings cast collectively daring hearts sparked aching waves flowing magnitudes bold ensure opened platforms prosper healed flourishing brought anchor. Fortified gifts renew celebrated traversed narrations beckon gardens prompting jubilant harmony thrive imaginatively upheld allowing history painted dreams sense lifting speechwise ardently stirred regardless fabled elapsed striving chase brightly honing. Symphonies touch ethereal capabilities embraced necessitating extend eternally weave gentle haste glowing horizon crafted unfolding cherishing abounds space morphing pursuing authenticity infinitely committed shift encompass inspiring uplift. Journey born thoughtfully ever treasured whisper thread ever longing mark fully knowing weave together personage emerging resolves echoed warm along sturdy stances celebrating substantial affinities arrive forth unto navigate surrounding wonder executed forged. Renewed eternal tropes unified bonds transcended recuperations tender awakening time gently find hues grasp overtaking treasured meat woven fill refreshingly renewed held dear expectancy patron ties growing indulged find expansive threads. Boldly emanating heart illuminate comfort standing hand poised shared journey anchored integrity found beside wonder. As Sarah Thompson settled back into her life after nearly 3 years of absence, the dynamics within her family became increasingly complex. Her return not only reignited a sense of relief but also unearthed unresolved tensions and deep-seated issues that had lingered silently during her disappearance. The emotional landscape was fraught with conflicting feelings, creating a delicate environment where joy mingled with confusion and uncertainty. Before Sarah vanished, her relationships with her family members were characterized by the typical struggles of adolescence. Like many teenagers, she had moments of rebellion against her parents, particularly against her mother, Jane Thompson, who had high expectations for her education and social life. Their relationship was marked by arguments over simple matters like curfews and academic performance, common frictions that often exist between mothers and daughters. However, the sudden void left in Jane's life following Sarah's disappearance intensified those past grievances, adding layers of complexity to their reunion. When Sarah walked back into their home, Jane experienced a whirlwind of emotions. She was overwhelmed with gratitude for having her daughter back, but simultaneously burdened by the unresolved conflicts that had existed prior to Sarah's vanishing act. As they embraced for the first time in years, it felt as though a bridge had been built over an uncharted chasm filled with unanswered questions and unhealed wounds. "Why didn't you ever talk to me?" Jane asked one evening as they sat together on the porch. The soft glow of dusk surrounded them, yet there was an undeniable tension hanging in the air. "I just don't understand what happened." Sarah's response revealed more than just confusion, it also conveyed a sense of urgency in wanting to be understood on her own terms. "I can't explain it all," she said softly, looking away into the distance. "I felt lost in ways I can't even begin to describe." This admission opened doors to deeper discussions about vulnerability and miscommunication that had plagued their relationship before Sarah's disappearance. Meanwhile, Sarah's father, Tom Thompson, approached his daughter's return with a mix of cautious optimism and protectiveness. He had struggled profoundly during the years when she was missing, filled with guilt over his inability to protect his daughter while still trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy for the rest of his family. While he welcomed Sarah home with open arms and fought hard to suppress any lingering resentment toward her absence, he carried burdens too heavy to share openly. For Tom, reconnecting meant navigating through his own feelings of failure as a parent while trying not to place undue pressure on Sarah as she attempted to find herself again. "Just take your time," he often told her during their quiet conversations, words meant as encouragement but sometimes heard by Sarah as both supportive and suffocating. The sibling dynamic also shifted dramatically upon Sarah's return. Emily Thompson, Sarah's younger sister who had been just 10 years old when she disappeared, now faced an entirely different reality at 13. A reality where she felt both excitement at having her sister back yet deeply conflicted by feelings of abandonment and resentment for how their lives had changed during those years apart. "Everything is different now," Emily expressed one day while they were sorting through old photographs together, a project aimed at reconnecting them through shared memories that echoed laughter from happier times. "You missed so much. I missed you." This moment crystallized one central truth. Despite the joy surrounding Sarah's return, there were scars etched within each family member that required acknowledgement and healing. Conversations about what happened during those lost years often diverged into territory filled with pain. Some days would see them sharing fond memories, while other days spiraled into awkward silences or misunderstandings, revealing deeper rifts hidden beneath surface-level interactions. The emotional weight bore down heavily on family gatherings. At holiday dinners or casual get-togethers intended for celebration, underlying tensions would bubble forth unexpectedly. An innocent comment could trigger reactions laden with unhealed wounds or past grievances resurfacing amid attempts at normalcy everyone desperately sought. Moreover, external pressures compounded these familial challenges. Navigating public scrutiny created an additional layer fraught with anxiety as they contended against media narratives framing their experience as sensational fodder rather than genuine human struggles encased within complex emotions, forging connections a new layer deeply amid turmoil, attempting rise stronger, forged together, finally understanding anchored growth, pieces altogether woven intricately beneath bonds previously cherished, trading between embracing authenticity, seeking clarity amongst doubt interspersed. As conversations unfolded around the dinner table or within private family meetings designed specifically toward healing communication gaps identified, earlier poignant reminders arose confronting everyone involved. How each person dealt uniquely, grappling personal truths while striving towards understanding one another more fully, embracing transformation needed. Navigating this journey required patience from all involved and acceptance that healing is seldom linear but rather interwoven. A process where individuals have room for growth amidst challenging circumstances, laden within memories, resounding echoes, tethering hearts close even when far apart, emotionally distance lingers, gently bridged, embracing love, returning homeward stronger than before, stepping forth, carrying stories, transforming intertwined journeys, woven rich textures, holding profound significance further beyond personal witness, breathing renewed hope, celebrating every step taken anew amidst evolving landscapes placed on to bend toward future aspirations, emerging richly alive, transcending complexities encountered along pathways, seeking brighter horizons where familial unity emboldened resilience continues, igniting collective spirit, illuminating shared bond forever nourished under watchful care, fostering open dialogues towards understanding, cultivating connection anchored deeply ultimately finding strength enduringly shared across generations, witnessing loved ones flourish, carrying forward legacies imprinted alive in memory, reaching present time, weaving intricate tapestries bound together, gently encircling treasured home spaces, thriving joyfully, mirrored reflections yearning, grow slowly, harmonizing beautifully, reaching ever onward, flourishing harmony. In the wake of Sarah Thompson's unexpected return, media coverage exploded, turning her story into a sensational phenomenon that captivated the nation. News outlets rushed to report on her reappearance, framing it as both miraculous and mysterious. Headlines oscillated between presenting her as a victim who had endured unimaginable suffering and portraying her as an enigma due to her assertion that she had never been gone. This duality fueled public fascination but also led to polarized opinions about her claims. Initial coverage focused heavily on the emotional reunion with her family, showcasing tearful embraces and heartfelt exchanges. However, as Sarah's statements gained traction, reporters began to dive deeper into the psychological implications of her words. Some articles highlighted the complexity of her situation, noting how common narratives surrounding missing persons often fail to capture the nuances of individual experiences. Experts were consulted, and discussions surrounding psychological trauma and dissociation became integral parts of the narrative. Social media platforms buzzed with discourse regarding Sarah's perspective. Many users rallied around her, expressing support for what they interpreted as a courageous stance against societal norms dictating how victims should feel or react after traumatic events. Hashtags like #SarahsTruth and #NeverGone quickly trended, transforming Sarah into a symbol of resilience for some, a beacon of hope demonstrating that recovery takes many forms. Conversely, skepticism was rampant among those who questioned whether Sarah's insistence on never having left was a denial of the trauma she had undoubtedly faced. Critics argued that by claiming she had not been absent, she might be inadvertently dismissing the real pain experienced by her family and community during her disappearance. "It sounds like she's trying to erase the last 3 years," one commentator wrote in an op-ed piece that garnered significant attention. Public forums erupted with debates where people weighed in on whether Sarah was genuinely coping or if she was avoiding confronting deeper truths about what happened during her time away. As discussions unfolded, the media began to explore broader themes related to identity and agency in trauma recovery. Psychologists featured in interviews discussed how individuals process their experiences differently based on personal histories and psychological frameworks. They emphasized that Sarah's claim might stem from a form of dissociation rather than any intentional attempt to minimize the impact of her absence on others. For some people, reality can shift dramatically after an intense experience, one expert explained during a television interview. What appears to be denial can sometimes be a way of coping with overwhelming emotions. This nuanced approach didn't resonate with everyone, however. Many felt that society has a responsibility to hold individuals accountable for their narratives, especially in cases that have drawn such significant public interest. A faction emerged demanding clarity. What really happened during those 3 years? Was there more to Sarah's story than she was willing or able to share? The fear lingered that without full transparency, misunderstandings could perpetuate myths surrounding missing persons. Moreover, local communities affected by Sarah's disappearance had mixed responses. While some residents celebrated her return as a positive outcome following years of uncertainty and sorrow, others voiced concerns over how media portrayals might overshadow their collective grief and ongoing struggles with unresolved questions about safety and vulnerability in their town. As Sarah navigated this charged atmosphere filled with both support and skepticism, public events aimed at promoting awareness around missing persons issues gained traction. Advocacy groups seized upon Sarah's story to highlight systemic issues surrounding child safety and mental health, resources available for families impacted by similar situations. They organized panels where survivors shared their experiences alongside experts discussing ways communities can better support those dealing with trauma. In these settings, conversations became robust as attendees grappled with their feelings about how society interprets stories like Sarah's, stories marked by complexity yet often simplified into digestible narratives for mass consumption. One panel discussion addressed whether society is ready to embrace diverse perspectives regarding trauma recovery or if it would continue clinging to traditional narratives defining victims' experiences strictly through loss or absence. As media coverage continued to evolve alongside public discourse surrounding Sarah's situation, it became evident that her case was far from closed. Rather, it opened doors for an ongoing dialogue about empathy in understanding human experiences shaped profoundly by trauma while navigating recovery paths paved uniquely different yet collectively intertwined within shared humanity, urging audiences everywhere towards greater compassion connected across varying dimensions reflecting realities. Echoing all too often invisible threads weaving lives together amidst searchlight illuminating fragile existence fostered through kinship inviting understanding extending beyond mere headlines towards genuine connection embracing warmth interwoven throughout every story told. In the wake of Sarah Thompson's return, speculation surrounding her extended absence intensified, leading to various theories that attempted to explain her situation. The public, fueled by a mix of curiosity and concern, engaged in discussions that ranged from the possibility of abduction to the implications of voluntary disappearance or psychological factors influencing her perception of reality. Each theory painted a different picture of Sarah's experience and contributed to the complexity surrounding her narrative. One prevalent theory suggested that Sarah might have been abducted, particularly as her case initially mirrored other high-profile abduction stories. This line of thinking evoked strong emotional reactions from the community who imagined the horrors she could have faced during her time away. Media coverage often included references to potential abductors, leading to sensationalized speculation. Those who supported this theory pointed to the fear that had gripped her family and neighbors alike during her absence and anxiety compounded by the unknowns surrounding her fate. However, as Sarah began to assert that she had never been gone, some observers shifted their focus from abduction to the possibility of voluntary disappearance. This theory provoked heated debates as people questioned whether Sarah's reappearance was indeed a return from captivity or rather an escape from her previous life. Proponents of this idea speculated that Sarah's strained relationships with her family, particularly with her mother, might have influenced her decision to distance herself. They hypothesized that she may have sought freedom from the pressures of adolescence, school expectations, and family dynamics, even if it meant relinquishing contact with loved ones. This line of speculation raised ethical questions around personal agency and the motivations behind her choices. Some argued that a voluntary departure should be seen as a valid response to overwhelming life circumstances, while others felt that it undermined the depth of trauma experienced by families of missing persons. The notion that Sarah could have consciously opted to leave stirred divisive opinions among supporters and skeptics alike, forcing both sides to confront their own beliefs about autonomy in the face of adversity. Moreover, psychological factors played a significant role in how Sarah viewed her experiences. Mental health professionals involved in her evaluation suggested that dissociative disorders might explain her assertion that she had never truly disappeared. They posited that trauma could lead individuals to detach from reality, creating alternate narratives in their minds as a means of coping with unbearable circumstances. Sarah's claim could therefore be interpreted not as a denial but as a complex psychological response to her situation. As discussions about these theories unfolded, community members began to reflect on how society processes narratives surrounding missing persons. Several local forums and social media groups emerged where participants debated Sarah's experiences and shared their own interpretations. These conversations often highlighted the need for compassion and understanding. Many expressed frustration with societal tendencies to oversimplify complex cases into neat, digestible stories, insisting that each individual's experience deserves acknowledgement for its intricacy. The theories surrounding Sarah's disappearance also prompted a wave of empathy from those who had faced similar struggles in their own lives. Advocacy groups sprang into action, organizing workshops and discussions focused on mental health awareness and trauma recovery. They emphasized the importance of recognizing individual narratives rather than imposing external judgments on what constitutes right or wrong responses to trauma. At the same time, there were voices that called for accountability. Some individuals within the community argued that regardless of the circumstances surrounding Sarah's absence, it was crucial to remain vigilant about child safety and the potential dangers lurking in the world. They highlighted that conversations about personal agency should not overshadow systemic issues related to missing persons or detract from the support needed for families left behind during extended absences. As public fascination swirled around Sarah's story, it was clear that every theory posed its own set of challenges and implications. The discourse surrounding her case reflected deeper societal issues about trauma, identity, and the responsibilities of communities toward individuals who find themselves navigating through darkness and uncertainty. In the aftermath of Sarah's return, it became evident that her journey was not just a matter of personal history but a catalyst for broader discussions about how humanity engages with stories marked by suffering and resilience. Each theory, whether rooted in fear of abduction or the complexities of psychological recovery, served as a reminder that understanding such experiences requires nuance and empathy. Ultimately, as people engaged in these conversations, they were called to reflect on their own biases and assumptions regarding missing persons while embracing the reality that every story is woven together by intricate threads of individual experience. A tapestry reflecting the struggles faced by countless individuals yearning for understanding amidst the complexities of life's challenges. As Sarah Thompson returned to her life in Maplewood after nearly 3 years in the shadows, the legal implications of her case quickly came to the forefront. Law enforcement officials launched investigations not only into the circumstances of her disappearance but also into potential criminal activities surrounding her time away. Given the claims of abduction that surrounded her initial report, the necessity for thorough inquiries was paramount. Authorities were particularly interested in understanding any unlawful actions that might have taken place while Sarah was missing. They scrutinized data from various sources hoping to uncover leads or patterns relating to reported sightings or interactions during her absence. The police reached out to neighboring jurisdictions and analyzed surveillance camera footage from areas close to where she had vanished, searching for clues that could provide insight into her prolonged absence. Despite extensive investigations, however, Sarah's unexpected declaration that she had never been gone added layers of complexity to these inquiries. Investigators wrestled with how to proceed when faced with a subject whose narrative conflicted so sharply with a presumed abduction scenario. Some within the department speculated whether Sarah might have voluntarily chosen to disconnect from her previous life due to overwhelming pressures, an angle that generated further discussions about individual autonomy versus public safety. In parallel, family dynamics began raising urgent custody issues. As Sarah adjusted to being back home, discussions surfaced about who would assume guardianship responsibilities, especially considering that she had been legally declared a missing person. The court system became involved as officials sought clarity regarding parental rights and mental health evaluations necessary for determining Sarah's best interests. Since she was still a minor upon her return, questions about where she should reside and under whose supervision loomed large. Her parents, Jane and Tom Thompson, faced challenges navigating these legal waters amidst their emotional turmoil. While both welcomed their daughter home with open arms, they often found themselves at odds over how to approach the changes wrought by Sarah's absence. Jane advocated for a cautious approach, believing therapy and increased parental oversight would be essential for Sarah's recovery, while Tom leaned towards granting Sarah the space and freedom he thought she needed to reclaim her identity. These differences prompted legal mediation to ensure everyone's views were heard in court proceedings. Family therapists offered their expertise during these sessions, emphasizing how important it was for all members of the Thompson family to heal together rather than allow unresolved feelings about the past to fester into future conflicts. Despite their disagreements, both parents recognized that fostering unity was crucial for Sarah's well-being. As legal tensions unfolded, community members closely observed how navigating complexities surrounding custody might affect familial relationships moving forward. Public forums buzzed with speculation as residents shared opinions on what supportive structures were best suited for helping individuals like Sarah reintegrate after traumatic experiences. Many expressed hope that local legislation could evolve in response to situations like hers, promoting more comprehensive support systems for families impacted by instances of missing persons. Throughout this turbulent period, mental health professionals played an essential role in advocating for Sarah's needs as she reintegrated into society. This was particularly evident when discussing whether criminal charges related to abduction could apply if it turned out her absence stemmed from voluntary actions influenced by psychological distress. Clinicians underscored the importance of considering individual histories rather than rushing to conclusions based solely on surface-level narratives. As such complexities unfolded in legal contexts and community discourse alike, broader conversations about child safety emerged nationwide. Advocacy groups began raising awareness regarding how recent developments in the Thompson case could inform future strategies designed specifically for protecting at-risk youth. Highlighting mental health support alongside physical safety measures deemed necessary by law enforcement agencies across different jurisdictions. Though reports of possible criminal activity continued swirling within investigative circles, there remained an underlying recognition that deeper societal issues must be addressed. Conversations called attention not only toward protective laws designed for minors but also toward developing comprehensive educational programs aimed at reducing pressures associated with adolescence and preventing voluntary disappearances driven by mental health crises. Ultimately, as discussions regarding custody arrangements swirled alongside ongoing inquiries into the nature of Sarah's disappearance continued progressing forth amid evolving societal norms surrounding trauma recovery, the necessity for empathy remained paramount. Public interest persisted throughout this process as communities rallied around an understanding that every story unfolds uniquely within distinct circumstances deserving care and compassion. A reminder woven through delicate fabric binding shared experiences reflecting life's challenges when navigating uncertain realities leading forth toward light shining brighter ahead. The story of Sarah Thompson, who vanished at 16 and returned after nearly 3 years, serves as a profound examination of the multifaceted issues surrounding missing persons and the importance of mental health awareness. Sarah's assertion that she had never been gone is not just a personal statement, it reflects broader themes of identity, trauma, and societal perceptions of individuals who experience profound dislocation from their lives. One key theme emerging from Sarah's case is the urgent need for nuanced understanding when addressing the narratives of missing persons. Society often tends to categorize such situations into simplistic binaries of victimhood or agency, overlooking the complexities inherent in each individual story. Sarah's journey underscores that a person's experience can be influenced by psychological factors that may lead them to reconcile their reality in ways not immediately comprehensible to others. Her claim challenges the conventional narrative, prompting discussions about how we define presence and absence in the context of personal trauma. Additionally, the intense media coverage surrounding Sarah's return reveals yet another layer to the conversation. The sensationalism that often accompanies stories of missing persons can inadvertently overshadow the significant psychological and emotional struggles faced by those involved. While public interest is essential for raising awareness, it can also contribute to the pressure on individuals like Sarah to conform to societal expectations about how they should feel or behave following a traumatic event. This dichotomy raises poignant questions about accountability. How much responsibility does society hold in shaping narratives that impact individuals' recovery processes? Moreover, the reactions from Sarah's family illuminate the intricate dynamics that surface in the aftermath of such traumatic experiences. Their varied responses highlight how unresolved tensions can complicate familial relationships, especially when compounded by public scrutiny. Each family member brought their own set of emotions and expectations to the table, revealing that healing is seldom linear. The journey toward reconnection requires patience and open communication, elements that are often strained when grappling with past grievances and new realities. The legal implications tied to Sarah's return also signify an essential aspect of navigating cases involving missing persons. The intersection of custody issues, parental rights, and mental health evaluations underscores the necessity for a compassionate approach within legal frameworks, one that prioritizes the best interests of the individual while recognizing the complexities of their circumstances. Legal systems must evolve to accommodate unique situations like Sarah's, ensuring that both protective measures and supportive structures are established. As conversations surrounding Sarah's case unfold, they prompt reflection on broader societal responsibilities pertaining to mental health awareness. Advocacy groups have emerged from this dialogue, emphasizing the importance of creating comprehensive support systems for individuals impacted by trauma. These initiatives aim to foster understanding, reduce stigma, and promote mental health resources tailored specifically for vulnerable populations, especially adolescents who may be at risk for voluntary disappearance driven by overwhelming pressures. Furthermore, community discourse around safety and abduction highlights an imperative for proactive measures aimed at protecting youth while also addressing systemic issues contributing to mental health crises. By nurturing environments where open discussions about emotional distress can occur without fear of judgment or stigmatization, society will be better equipped to support individuals like Sarah through their most challenging times. Ultimately, Sarah Thompson's story serves as both a catalyst for critical conversations and a poignant reminder of the complexities woven into human experiences. It calls upon us to examine our biases regarding trauma and recovery while fostering greater empathy towards those navigating their paths through uncertainty. Each narrative surrounding missing persons is distinct and layered. Embracing these differences paves the way for deeper understanding and connection between individuals facing their respective struggles. In reflecting on Sarah's journey, communities are encouraged to recognize that resilience takes many forms, whether it be through a conscious choice to reclaim one's identity or through coping mechanisms born out of unimaginable circumstances. As we strive toward greater compassion in our collective narratives, we honor not only Sarah's journey but also all those who share similar experiences marked by both light and shadow. Thus, as we move forward with a renewed focus on mental health awareness and advocacy for missing persons, let us be guided by empathy and a commitment to supporting one another through life's myriad challenges. With each story told, we enrich our understanding of humanity, a tapestry woven with shared threads of resilience, hope, and connection that bind us together in our quest for healing and understanding amid life's complexities.